This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
I scream. You scream. We all scream. Because Wendy's famous small classic Frosty is just $1 for a limited time. More screaming, happy screaming, summer screaming, dollar small classic Frosty screaming! But please don't scream in the drive-thru. It hurts the employees' ears. Get a $1 small classic Frosty for a limited time, only at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid for delivery. Limit 10 per transaction. Price may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Uncovered windows can make your home feel up to 20 degrees hotter. Stay cool and save up to 45% off custom window treatments during the Summer Black Friday mega sale at Blinds.com. From outdoor shades to room darkening blinds, finding the perfect fit is easy. Get free samples, expert design help, and professional measure and install services, or DIY with confidence and support every step of the way. Shop up to 45% off site-wide, plus huge savings on doorbusters right now during the Summer Black Friday mega sale at Blinds.com.
Hello and welcome to The Best Worst, a celebration of the best and the worst of the television we love.
Hello, I'm Meg Bashwinner.
And I'm Joseph Fink.
And we love TV. So we created this show to explore what we all love about popular TV shows by watching both the IMDb viewer best rated and worst rated episodes of a quintessential series.
Because, I don't know why. It's been a week, guys.
We are physical health, mental health, not well here. Global, existence not well here.
Yeah, I don't want to get into why, but it was a real traumatic week for us. So we're coming into this with a weird headspace. But listen, we are here to fix television.
We're here to fix television. Also, they're also here to fix our house. So while we are recording this, they're trying to rewire our house so that it doesn't burn down. So that you might hear that as well.
Yeah, we are now recording in our living room to try to avoid them, and then they moved their workspace over by our living room.
And now there's some sort of shouty conversation happening right outside our front door. But you know what? We're going to podcast against all odds because, God damn it.
It's important. It's important to all of you out there that we watch television. Each of the shows that we watch for this podcast must adhere to a set of rules. Each show must have at least 100 episodes, and we exclude generally premieres or finales because those tend to have inflated ratings, and we're looking to watch the television show at its absolute best, not its most important or cliffhangery. Meg, what show are we watching?
We're doing American Horror Story, which has run for 13 seasons since 2011 with 132 episodes.
Yeah, it's another one that's still sort of running, although I think it's real sporadic.
I think there's one, they're working on one right now,
yeah.
I think. Yeah, so that's happening. It's funny because our last one was Mr. Ed, which ran for 6 seasons and it had like 140 something episodes. And this one has been on for 13 seasons and like over 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's been on for almost 15 years
and has 132 episodes. So, things have changed there. I will say there's a stark difference between Mr. Ed and American Horror Story, just stylistically.
Less horse, yeah.
But not zero horse.
Was there a horse in this?
There's got to be horses in the show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Nothing in this that we watched, I don't think, though.
So what's your background with the show? What did you come into this with?
We watched the first season together.
We watched, I think, the first 3 seasons together.
Yes, and we really enjoyed them. I can't speak to why we fell off after the 3rd season.
We started the 4th season, which is the, freak show one. And I think we just found it kind of boring and faded out. We had kind of always meant to go back. Yeah, we started the first season, I think, like a lot of people just being like, what is this? And the first season is so, instantly soapy fun that it, immediately drew us in. And then we watched the 2nd season when it came out. And then I think we let a few years go by and went back to the 3rd season, the Witches season.
The Coven, yeah.
I think several years after it came out. We kind of slowed down in general. You're just not much of a horror person.
Although I do like American Horror Story style horror. I find it I don't have an issue watching these. I would watch all of them.
Yeah, I mean, they are a very, and we can talk about we can talk about the style, but I mean, it's doing something very specific, which is mostly camp. It's doing kind of silly over scary is a lot of what it's going for.
Yeah. And just so aesthetically fine-tuned.
Yeah, I mean, so I came into this, I really enjoyed those 3 seasons we watched. I am kind of, I think, in the minority in that I thought the second season wasn't that great, the Asylum one. That is often, like, people will often say that's the best season. I thought it was fine. I think the one I enjoyed the most of the ones we saw was Coven.
Yeah, agreed.
I really thought Coven was a fun season. But I mean, even within those seasons, there is some real highs and lows to American Horror Story. It takes big swings in every scene. Every scene is a big swing. And when you do that, you're going to hit some incredible scenes, but you're also going to really have some hard to watch ones, and often in the same episode. And so I definitely went into this expecting, listen, some of what we're going to watch today is going to be an absolute mess, but some of it's going to be really fun.
All right, so let's start talking about it.
So let's get to the worst episode.
Season 12, episode 9, The Auteur.
So this is a season finale.
This is a season finale. However, when dealing with anthology finales and premieres, it's like a little bit, I feel like it's a little not as accurate.
My argument is also this, which is we avoid finales because they tend to be overrated, but this is the worst rated. And in fact, I think the bottom 10 rated episodes were all season finales, because one of the things about American Horror Story is they have no idea how to land a plot. That's always been a problem from the very first season. They have no idea how to make the plot lines come together. And so it felt worth talking about. Like, if all of these bottom ones are all the season finales, it felt worth, okay, let's watch the worst rated of those to see what is the problem. Why can't American Horror Story seem to land a season plot in a way that anyone likes?
Well, it's because it's hard. And because they are taking so many big swings and they have so many characters and so many cool things going on, and they're putting so much out there for you, I can see that they sacrifice the ability to tie it all together to put so much out there. I don't think it's like an accident. I think it's like, okay, well, we know that we can't really put the biggest, cleanest bow on this, but let's not let that stop us from just doing a bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah, I mean, this has always been the Ryan Murphy house style, right? Like, because that happened with Glee too, as the plot eventually kind of fell apart and people stopped watching it.
I mean, maybe the same thing with Nip Tuck too. I watched Nip Tuck when it was on. I watched Glee when it was on. I finished none of them.
Ryan Murphy is so good at getting your attention. He comes in with such attention-grabbing stuff. I just don't think he cares that much about endings. I don't think it's something he thinks about much. I think he's trying to build in, trying to shock you and get your interest in every scene. And whether that adds up to anything in the end is just not something he's that interested in.
He's also prolific. So he is already on to the next thing by the time the thing is ending. So he's like, maybe like there's a sense of his attention there that is missing towards the endings of these shows. But yeah.
Well, let's get to the Auteur. It's funny. This is a season finale of a season we didn't watch. However, of the 3 episodes we watched, I felt like I could follow this one the best, independent of the plot.
It does kind of stand alone. There's like little kind of bits and bobs that you need, but they give them to you because there's flashback.
I think it's also just so this is the only American Horror Story season based on a novel. It's based on a novel. It is also not written. It's the first season not showrun by Ryan Murphy or Brad Falchuk. They left at the end of the season before this and brought in someone who we'll talk about soon, Haley Pfeiffer. And she is the one that led the writing of this based on a novel. So I think the plot was a little simpler. And because of that, it was a little easier to infer from what was going on what had happened before. Whereas with most seasons, there is no way to infer what happened before because it is a series of events that will make no sense.
Yeah, and there's like a tremendous amount of characters and like all of it. Yeah, but whereas this one, there was some characters, but really like it is this two-hander between Emma Roberts and Kim Kardashian.
Right. So the story is what we picked out. We start several months before, or probably even a year or two before, where there's a support group for women who are trying IVF, and this Emma Roberts' character, who's a actress. She gets approached by Kim Kardashian's character, who refers her to a fertility doctor. Now, we have flashed forward to the end of the story. Our character has just won a Best Actress Academy Award, and she goes into labor on stage while winning it. She's put into an ambulance with the father, who she's no longer with, and her bodyguard. It turns out the ambulance driver shoots the bodyguard because it turns out the ambulance driver is evil. And then her baby seems to just like come out of her and bite the father's hand off because it's some sort of monster baby. And then the whole end of it is we are in another coven. It turns out everyone who was in the IVF support group was actually a coven. They were all witches, and they are trying to birth these monster babies that will help them destroy all men. Their goal is to kill all of the men, and they want to breed these monster babies. To do so, and there's a lot of Kim Kardashian kind of monologuing their plan. That's a lot of the episode in the middle. And then Emma Roberts chants a little bit, and it causes Kim Kardashian to die.
And then Emma Roberts gets both her baby and her Oscar back, because there's a lot of what we're dealing with in this season is being a working mom and what that means, and sacrificing a career for a baby or a baby for a career. That is sort of our central theme that we have going on here. And it's spelled out.
Kim, they say it out loud.
They're like, you got this Oscar, so now we get to take your baby. So, and then there's also like,
American Horror Story never has been subtle.
No subtlety
at no point.
Which is fine. Great. Cool. Like, I don't need subtlety and nuance in my Ryan Murphy scary show. I don't need it. There's this one scene where she's like nursing her monster baby and it like hurts. And it's just like beat by beat. Anyone who's ever had trouble nursing, that is the experience you have.
Yeah. Except for in this case, it's hurting because the monster has like claws.
And
the baby has claws.
My baby had claws. Not like that, which I thought was very cute. I think a baby with like a long claw is adorable. But like babies notoriously have sharp little fingernails that are very difficult to trim. So I thought that was like a fun little camp version of baby fingernails. But yeah. So that was the episode. It felt like it did. Yeah. Like you said, it kind of felt like it stood alone. It was 32 minutes long. It was a shorty.
It's the shortest episode they ever made.
Which with the season, thinking about it, this was the season that was being made during the writer's strike, and they got in trouble for crossing the picket line. They like went through the back door and started filming, and then they shut it down again. So they shut down filming on this a couple times for the writer's strike after being called out on it. I guess that situation that they were working against.
Yeah, I wonder if less of it was Kim Kardashian monologuing before, but they had kind of lost some performers and some sets and stuff, and maybe just needed to be like, okay, we're just going to have the bad guy explain everything.
Yeah, we're going to get it done quick. Kim Kardashian, I guess we have to talk about it. So when you told me, you're like, the worst rated episode is the last one in the Kim Kardashian season. I'm like, of course it is. People hate women. People hate Kim Kardashian. And then I watched it and I was like, Kim Kardashian plays a role in this being the worst rated for sure. But
yeah, I think the headline here is, I don't know about you, I thought it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. On the other, and I think the low rating is partly people hate women. It is a very explicitly feminist episode. It talks a lot about the idea of like women telling women's stories in kind of a meta way, because this episode had a female showrunner and a female director. It was the first season without Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk. And so it was the first season where women were actually telling the story.
Based upon a book written by a woman.
Yeah. However, Kim Kardashian is truly a bad actor and is given way more material than she can handle here.
But also the Ryan Murphy thing is that he kind of casts people who aren't great at acting, but are different in some kind of way, right? So like there's things that Kim Kardashian is bringing to this role that no other person could bring just by the nature of who she is and how she holds herself. It is immediately obvious that she is not a great actor. She is getting the words out. She is like definitely was there on time, was definitely working hard and doing her best. And I appreciate seeing that. As far as like being able to anchor that, like it would be cool to see someone with different chops do it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind when in the Coven season, Stevie Nicks shows up as herself as a witch. And in my memory, Stevie Nicks isn't that good of an actor either. I think part of the difference is, again, they don't give Stevie Nicks that many lines, and they mostly just let her be herself. Whereas Kim Kardashian is being asked to carry this episode, and she just does not have that.
I know, but I do still think it works. I do still think it works.
I liked the episode.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, a lot of it for me was the visuals. I forgot how visually cool American Horror Story is. The costumes are great. The witches have these incredible outfits. The like weird ritual when the baby is born looks amazing. The sets are incredible. Like it just is a beautiful looking episode.
Makeup, hair, costume. It's all really great and all really works.
I mean, the plot is easy to follow because it's just Rosemary's Baby, which is, a classic pregnancy paranoia plot is the word I'm looking for. Written by Ira Levin, who also wrote The Stepford Wives, a very interesting guy who was very focused on feminist issues in his work. Yeah, I don't have a ton. They talk a bit at the beginning about they want to make her next project, the actress's next project, is going to be a feminist horror movie written and directed by women, so women can finally tell the story. Yeah, it's a meta thing where essentially she does star in that, and it's this episode. This episode is kind of supposed to be the feminist horror movie she was going to star in.
Nothing more horrifying than being a mom, we tell you what.
It ends with her having it all, very literally.
Mm-hmm.
And my other note is I kind of want to watch this season. It seemed cool.
Yeah, it pulled us back in.
So, as mentioned before, it is written by Haley Pfeiffer. She is a playwright. She's the daughter of a Pulitzer Prize-winning and very successful political cartoonist, Jules Pfeiffer. She was a playwright in Off-Broadway. She had a bunch of plays. One of my favorite names. She had her plays have pretty good names, and one I really liked was A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Gynecologic Oncology Unit at Memorial Sloan Kettering Center is the name of one of her plays. She also is an actor. She's been on a ton of TV shows. She's performed on Broadway. She has been a TV writer. She joined kind of the house of Ryan Murphy with American Crime Story before moving to American Horror Story and then taking over as showrunner after he left. And she is also, she has a lot, currently writing the book to a Thelma and Louise musical with music by Nico Case.
Cool.
She's just in general an incredibly successful and an impressive person. Like, she is kind of been successful in everything she's tried.
Frankly, you love to see it.
Yeah, it's nice to see. This episode was directed by Gwyneth Horder Payton, really long-time TV director. She started as a second unit director in the 80s, then moved to main director in the 2000s. She came into Ryan Murphy's orbit with Feud in 2017 and then has been working for him regularly since. She is behind the scenes, but she is an older woman. She's in her 60s who has been in Hollywood a long time. And Ryan Murphy, I think, has a deep respect and love for older women who have been in Hollywood for a long time.
Ryan Murphy has an admiration, respect, and really does seem to care about women. It seems to care about telling their stories and hires actors who have physical disabilities, have mental disabilities, have different body sizes. There's a lot of body diversity on his shows. There's a ton of age diversity. It's so rare to see a woman over the age of 30 in anything, and he's got women over the age of 70, over the age of 60 anchoring these shows.
Yeah. I mean, I will say mostly white women. He's been kind of Sarah Paulson and Jessica Lange and Connie Britton. He kind of these women who were considered maybe too old to anchor a major TV show, but mostly white women.
He's got Angela Bassett in there.
It's true.
He's used Angela Bassett a number of times.
Not exclusively. He definitely, in the Coven season, Queenie is a fat black woman who's given a role that has nothing to do with being a fat black woman. It has to do with the story of her character. He has cast people with Down syndrome in, again, roles that had nothing to do with that. I will say he just does mainly, I think, focus on kind of older white women is his forte, is casting them.
And Evan Peters and
Evan Peters, who gets to be in. It's possible Evan Peters has now been in the most American Horror Story, it feels like.
Emma Roberts is in a ton of it. Sarah Paulson is in a ton of it. He has his crew, which I think is really cool. Dennis O'Hare has been in a ton of it.
Yeah, well, I feel like American Horror Story was kind of the first of these anthology shows. There's a few of them now, but there's The Terror, there's Fargo that do these anthologies. But I feel like American Horror Story was kind of the first one to be like, we're going to start fresh every season. And they're also the only one, because none of the other ones do this, where they're like, we're going to start fresh every season, but we're going to keep most of the same cast.
Yeah, we're going to use the same cast, and they're going to play different parts because they're actors and they can do that.
And it's great. I wish more shows did this.
Yeah, I love that they have an ensemble and they are doing anthology with ensemble. I think that's really cool.
Like, I love Fargo, but I think Fargo would be interesting if they reuse some of the actors, which they never ever do.
Because they're so good. God, the last season of Fargo was so good.
The last season of Fargo, if you haven't seen it, might be one of the best seasons of television ever made, in my opinion. It is very good TV. And I would love to see some of the performers from it come back, especially the main woman whose name I always forget from Ted Lasso. She's the lady who has the PR firm in Ted Lasso, and she does just an absolute barn burner of a performance.
Juno is her name. Juno something.
Do we have anything else on the worst episode of American Horror Story?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, there's not a ton to it, both because it's a kind of simpler story and then it's also only 30 minutes.
It got some award nominations for hair and makeup. It won for hair and makeup at the Hair and Makeup Guild Awards. And it won Primetime Creative Emmys for costumes this season of the show.
Yeah, I would watch this season.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Bistro Cat Food. Cats, this ad is for you. Has your human ever called you picky, persnickety, choosy? If so, Perfect Bistro Cat Food is for you. With ingredients like wild-caught tuna and pasture-raised lamb, tantalizing textures, and delectable flavors that meet even the most discerning cat standards. You're not picky, you're just perfectionists. Perfect Bistro, mealtime perfection for every cat. Have your human visit perfectbistro.com.
Let's get to our intermission then, which is how is that theme song?
It's so good, right?
It's great.
Like I want you to tell me about how it is made, because there's so much interesting sound texture that happens during it that is like so eerie and unsettling, and like things that sort of sound like things like saws and water dripping, but they become musical, and like just you tell me about it. You tell me all about it.
So it was, I think, in general based on the opening credit sequence to the movie Seven. It's based on it in two ways. It's actually built around a pre-existing 90s experimental sound piece by a Puerto Rican composer named Cesar Davila Irizarry, which he based on the opening music to Seven. And they put that song in as just placeholder music, but started enjoying it there. I think this happens a lot with placeholder music where they kind of get attached to it. So when they brought in the series composer, which is this guy named Charlie Clouser, to adapt it for the show, they paid the original composer and then built the theme song around that piece. And then also Charlie Clouser, I think, slightly tweaks it for every season. So every season the music is a little bit different. Charlie Clouser is a collaborator for many years with the Nine Inch Nails, and also he did all the music for the Saw movie series. So we're bringing in, there's some clear influences happening here. They wanted it to sound like Seven. They wanted it to sound like Saw. To continue that, because along with the theme music, the credit sequence is impeccable visually. For every season it's a different credit sequence, and every season it is just incredible looking. And all of those are designed by a guy named Kyle Cooper, who, among other things, designed the opening credit sequence to Seven. But he designed the opening credit sequence to a million things. He designed the opening credit sequence to Zoolander and The Walking Dead. He's a guy who's designed probably something close to like 500 opening credit sequences.
Which is great.
They're currently crawling under the house below us, which maybe is fitting for the American Horror Story.
Yeah, right. This is all the sounds you're hearing, the saws in the background. Let them sound eerie to you as we talk about this show.
So this theme song is so immediately arresting because it is made of it's made of sounds. It's not really music. It's made of these like water drop sounds, and it has this recurring buzz that comes in that's really arresting. It was I think one of the first things that caught us when we watched the show was just like that opening theme music immediately grabs your attention.
You and I are both suckers for a good opening theme.
Yeah. And thinking about the themes I've really enjoyed on the show, this one, Mr. Ed, Cheers. I think a thing that's interesting about them is I would never like put any of these on a playlist and like listen to them while driving. I'm not interested in them as songs in themselves, but just each of them sets up the tone of the show perfectly.
Yeah.
I give this one a 10 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay. You're saving that for, was it, you had Cheers at a 10 out of 10?
I think I had Sopranos at a 10 out of 10. I don't know. I'm not keeping track. Maybe you are out there.
Yeah, if you are, please let us know. All right, let us get to the best episode of American Horror Story.
No surprise that this one was going to be the best. It is season 8, episode 6, Return to Murder House. Of course, this is going to be a favorite because it is like, let's have like a yearbook episode. Let's smash all of these characters together. Let's bring back old characters. So people are going to be super into this because we're coming back to Murder House, which is a lot of the nostalgia for that season, as a lot of people watch that one. It's got characters from Coven, and then characters from the new season. So
Yeah, this was kind of their like big crossover season. It was mainly a combination of kind of Coven and Murder House, but I think there were elements from the Cult season. There were elements from the Hotel season. This was kind of their big crossover season of like, let's just smash all these stories together and see what happens. And specifically, this is Emma Roberts from Coven season, along with Billy Porter, who I don't think was in the Coven season, but is also playing a warlock.
No.
And it's the two of them returning to the murder house to try to find more information about this very powerful warlock who has just shown up in New Orleans, who came from the murder house. And honestly, most of this episode is just exposition. It's just various murder house characters telling us about Michael Langdon, who's the guy they're trying to investigate, as they gradually figure out that Michael Langdon is the Antichrist, is the plot of this episode.
Yes. And there's some sort of revisiting to the story of Murder House.
Yeah, they give a few characters a little more closure than they had in Murder House.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that is something that like maybe Ryan Murphy and Brad Chuck sat with for a little bit after finishing that season, that they felt like they left the characters in a place where they didn't want to leave them and then came back with an opportunity to save them.
Well, they did the horror ending, right? Like a horror ending can never be fully happy. You always have to have a little bit of the nasty twist to it. And so the original season ended with all of their ghosts trapped forever in Murder House. And here we leave them with the maid character played by
Frances Conroy.
Frances Conroy. She gets to leave the house and be with her mother's ghost. Tate, the Evan Peters character, and whatever the name of the Thaisa Farmiga character is, they've been in love with each other but held apart because he was a school shooter in his life, I believe, is his backstory. And they end up together because she forgives him due to some convoluted metaphysics where it wasn't his fault that he was a school shooter.
And that he fathered the Antichrist with her mom.
Yeah, he, as a ghost, impregnated Connie Britton with the Antichrist. He was already dead before Connie Britton moved in, if I'm remembering all the plot right, which I'm probably not. It's complicated. Yeah. We get a fun little side thing where Anton LaVey, who is a very real person, he was the founder of the Church of Satan. The Church of Satan was very offended by this episode because they depict Anton LaVey as like a murderer who does sacrifices to bring the Antichrist back, and that was not really Anton LaVey's whole deal. On the other hand, I feel like if you start the Church of Satan, you kind of gotta take the reputation you're gonna get. That's part of it.
Mm-hmm. It's split into three parts. So we have our Emma Roberts, Billy Porter. They get the house, and then they kind of have little chats with the three ghosts in the house. There's like little side trips here and there, and things happen. They have to do a spell, and then they also have a little side trip with Frances Conroy. But the bulk of it is a monologue. We get a monologue from Constance, who is Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange, this is her first appearance in the show since she left the show in season 4.
And she was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Guest Actress for her performance in this episode. She does a monologue talking about raising the Antichrist and what all of that means. And then we get a monologue from Dylan McDermott where he's talking about how he tried to help the Antichrist. And then we get a monologue from Connie Britton, who like gives us what her version of it really happened was, and
because she was the one who gave birth to the Antichrist.
So that was that's how they chose to handle it. Ultimately, they get the information that they need, and then they do a little bit more magic at the end to reunite Violet and Tate. And then we're back on our way into whatever happens next in this
season that has a million things happening.
Yes.
Did you enjoy this episode?
I did, because I really liked Murder House, so it was nice to go back to it. However, I don't necessarily love extended monologue storytelling, like in the middle of something, you know?
Yeah, I found the experience of this episode mostly not great because it was just... the entire episode is one big exposition dump and there's not much else happening. I feel like you had so much potential if you're going back to Murder House to like have these characters doing stuff, and they all just take turns. I mean, it's probably some scheduling stuff, getting all these people together, but they're each of them alone in a room doing a big exposition dump about a character that's not even from the Murder House season.
Yeah. One critic described this episode is peak fan service.
Which I can see. They definitely do feel like, let's give these people a slightly happier ending, that maybe there was some outcry about the fact that we left them as tortured souls. Yeah, I will. For me personally, I found the experience of watching the worst one more enjoyable. I found it to be a more fun episode to watch. Maybe in the context of the season, because Michael Langdon has been like this mystery. Who is Michael Langdon? Why is he so powerful? And oh boy, we're finding out he's the Antichrist. But as an episode, just on its own, it was just a lot of plot dump. Great costumes is a note I have again. Both Emma Roberts and Billy Porter are wearing very fun witch costumes.
And then the house, when they pull up on the house and it's like derelict because no one's lived there because like, horrible things have happened. I was like, I'd live there. Looks great. I'd so live in Murder House. Like LA real estate's hard to come by and that place is gorgeous.
I don't know. There's a lot of ghosts. I think they say there's something like 36 ghosts in that house.
Yeah. There's a really funny part where they're in the backyard looking for Moira's bones and they're just coming across all these different bones and Emma Roberts are like, nah, that's not the right bones.
There's also, there's a number of ghosts we see that are never, there's like, towards the beginning, they just see two flaming small children walking up the stairs that we never see again. It's never explained who those ghosts are. We are introduced to the Murder House characters again when we see Dylan McDermott give Evan Peters' character therapy after death. And there's just the sense that they are, part of their torment is they are in a eternal afterlife therapy session, which I thought was funny. In general, this is not at all scary episode. It very much plays the haunted house as comedy, which I talked about American Horror Story as camp, but even as camp, it is not always playing it as comedy. It's sometimes just camp scares, but this is entirely just comedy for the most part. I don't, other than maybe the children with like who are on fire.
Yeah, that was kind of like the only real jump scare that we had.
I think that Billy Porter and Emma Roberts are a really fun double act here. I think they have a lot of work to do, kind of carrying the through line of the episode of where the sort of the Mulder and Scully investigating this house, and I think they do a really fun job of it.
Yeah. I found it interesting that in our best, worst, and middleist, they were all Emma Roberts as the lead.
Yeah, which in my memory, I mean, she wasn't in the first two seasons, I don't think.
She's in a bunch of it, but like, again, it with the recurring characters, it just as easily could have been Sarah Paulson. It could have been Jessica Lange. It could have been Kathy Bates. It could have been Evan Peters. Like, there's so many people that get to star in that it like...
Although Kathy Bates is briefly in this episode. She plays
yes, but there are episodes that episodes of American Horror Story where Kathy Bates is the guy.
Yes.
So
there is a fun little bit when they are looking for a victim to sacrifice to bring the Antichrist onto Earth. They send out Kathy Bates because she looks like a sweet old lady, and she picks up like a teenage girl from the side of the road. And then the teenage girl notices that she just has an upside down cross hanging from her mirror, which is a fun little visual thing. This is mostly just a little epilogue for Murder House, is most of what this is. And Mrs. Coach is back.
We love Connie Britton. Again, it's sweeping. This season is sweeping at the Makeup Artists and Hairstylist Guild Awards. They win for makeup and hairstyling and contemporary makeup. So, yeah, they're out there. They did get some Primetime Creative Emmy Awards. Nominations they didn't win for this season.
This episode was written by Crystal Liu. She came up in Ryan Murphy world. She started out her career as a script coordinator on Glee, then became a script coordinator on American Horror Story, then started writing for American Horror Story in season 4. She wrote for it all the way to 2019 before moving to American Horror Stories, which is their spinoff in which every episode is a new story. And she is now currently creating a fantasy show for Amazon called Rise of the Empress. There's a number of these people who kind of seem to be of the house of Ryan Murphy, that kind of, he's such an industry that you can do your entire TV career within his world. Directed by Sarah Paulson.
Huge.
Sarah Paulson, who she is in 95 out of 133 American Horror Story episodes. She is, I think, more than any other actor associated with American Horror Story, which is interesting because she is... In the 3 we watched, she was in it not much. She's in it for one scene in this episode, and she's in the middleist a little bit. But we did not actually get a lot of Sarah Paulson, who is so closely tied to this.
She's
series.
directing the episode. She was in it, but she was directing the episode, so we have to.
Yeah. This is, by the way, her only directing credit. She did not direct anything before. She has no directing credit since. She directed this epised.
I think that's really great. That like this sort of like fan service yearbook of an episode was directed by someone who's in so many of the episodes. I think that's great.
Sarah Paulson is possibly the person who is the least Nepo baby in Hollywood. She is the polar opposite of a Nepo baby. Comes from, she grew up first in Tampa, and then her parents divorced, and her mom moved them to Maine and then New York City. Her mom was a single mom who worked as a waitress at Sardi's. She spent summers at her dad's back in Tampa. He ran a door factory. So we are not talking like glamorous start to life. She attended arts-focused public schools in New York, and then got her first Broadway understudy job at the age of 20, and then just has basically been on a rocket ship since.
Yep. She has a Primetime Emmy Award for her role in American Crime Story as Marcia Clark. She was also nominated for she has other nominations, but as far as Ryan Murphy stuff goes, she was nominated when she was Linda Tripp in American Crime Story, the Monica Lewinsky one. She was so good as Linda Tripp.
She is good in everything she does. I've never seen her deliver a bad performance. We were discussing that. We were discussing that it's possible. No, I don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to offend anyone. But it's possible that Jessica Lange's not a very good actor.
I just don't see a ton of range out of her.
Yeah.
And maybe that is just what she has been cast to do. And then also this is the only time she has worked in television is for American Horror Story. So
Interesting.
So it is a definitely different thing, but I feel like she is sort of always playing the same character.
Yeah.
There's always like the cigarette and the voice and the breathiness and the eyes. It's like very...
Whereas Sarah Paulson is asked to do a lot of different things, and in my opinion, nails it every single time.
She's Linda Tripp. She's Marcia Clark. She's doing it all.
She's the Supreme in the Coven episode. She's if I remember right, an investigative reporter who sneaks into a mental asylum in the second season.
Yeah.
She's just doing a lot of different stuff. They are banging on the floor below our microphones right now.
We're going to get out of this episode, guys.
She was briefly engaged to the playwright and actor Tracy Letts, who went on to marry Carrie Coons. And I just...
Carrie Coon,
excuse me. I wrote it as Coons. I don't know. It just seems like Tracy Letts maybe has a type. And that is who is behind this episode. So having seen these two, we haven't watched American Horror Story since we gave up on the Freak Show season years ago. What did you feel about it?
our dog is now being scared by the hammering under the house. She was sleeping so quietly and being so well behaved. How do I feel about it watching it now? For me, it's always just like a marvel that the world spins madly on without me observing it, because so much like the show that we were into, we were like, it was appointment TV for us. We were excited about it, and then we just sort of fell off our radar. But it did not stop just because we stopped. It kept going and created so much more. And so, how I feel about it is like this is a cool thing, right? That Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk have created. And it's big, and it employs a ton of people, employs a lot of really talented people in front of the camera, behind the camera. So I'm babbling, but like thinking about it, like really sitting down and thinking about like this huge thing that exists, this huge like franchise that exists. It's really remarkable. That's what I think about it. Is that it's special.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching these episodes. I've always enjoyed this show. I got to thinking about. The show is just doing something that no one but Ryan Murphy tries to do, which is combining kind of the format of prestige television, this like limited series, big name actors telling kind of a high budget, visually beautiful story with just like full on camp, just like really going for it campiness. And it's something that no one but Ryan Murphy would try. And that's what American Horror Story is the combination of those two things. And it's both what makes the show so watchable and so fun. And it's also the reason the show falls apart all the time, because that is an almost impossible balance. I feel like the demands of camp, which is to constantly escalate and constantly go for the most like outrageous choice, is directly contradictory with the demands of prestige TV, which is to build this machine that works together and takes us to something that ties everything together. Those two things don't work together. And so it always falls apart, but it always falls apart in an interesting way. Would you want to keep watching American
I'd
Horror
watch
Story?
more of this for sure.
Yeah, it made me want to start it again. Watch some of those seasons we missed.
Yeah. I think we should watch the season because we really liked Coven. So, and it's got all the Coven people.
Yeah, and maybe we'll go back to the beginning of Apocalypse. I've heard good things about a few of them. Roanoke, people like.
If any of our listeners out there have a favorite season that they would like to encourage us towards, please go comment on our Patreon. You don't have to be a member to comment on shit.
Yeah.
So go over there, take a look. Tell us what the story is.
I think Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk are this like absolute force in television. There's just no one. I think there's a strong argument that they are the most successful TV writers in TV history. They have created, because all the American blank stories they've created all the 911, the whole 911 franchise is them.
Yeah. Glee, Nip Tuck.
All the Nip Tuck did Brad Falchuk. We'll get to this in the middle list because he wrote it. Brad Falchuk started as a writer on Nip Tuck, and that is how they met. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just an absolute juggernaut. Like, we talked about Amy Sherman Palladino is successful in a way that most TV people aren't. And Ryan Murphy makes her look like a failure because just no one gets these many shows made. He gets an outrageous number of.
He got a $300 million, 5-year, $300 million deal from Netflix.
And I can't even name any of his Netflix shows. Oh, I guess he's doing all the serial murders right now is what he's into.
Yeah.
He did like a.
And then he's got
Gacy
the Kim
one.
Kardashian divorce lawyer show.
Oh, is that him as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea the 911 franchise was even them. Is how big they are. That's becoming as big as like CSI. There's now 3 911 series, and I had no idea it was them. It's impressive. It's in an era in which TV is hard to get made. The degree to which Ryan Murphy can get something made is impressive. Well, that was American Horror Story. I'm sorry that they are actively trying to hit our microphone with hammers as we recorded it.
Yeah, we just were in sort of a pickle here because we needed to record an episode, but they're cutting all of the power to our house tomorrow. So we figured, let's not let perfect be the enemy of a recorded episode. So,
Meg, what is our next show?
we're going to do All in the Family.
Yeah, All in the Family. I've never seen any All in the Family, and it feels like a foundational sitcom. It had a ton of successful spin-offs, and also it stars Rob Reiner, and so it felt like why not revisit where his career started.
Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you to Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk. Thank you to Sarah Paulson. Thank you, of course, to the Murder House. Check out our Patreon-only show, The Middleist, where we will be discussing the exact Middleist-rated episode to see what the show looks like when everything is exactly average. And that episode is Season 3, Episode 7, The Dead, where there's some Jessica Lange and a horny ghost.
And there's a threesome in which 2 of the members are zombies. It's a lot's going on. This is where we usually like hum the theme song to take you out. So
We could just have all the sound effects of metal clanking throughout our house.
yeah,
Let that be your outro. And the dog.
and the dog shaking her collar as she loves to do. We love you all. It will be quieter when we come back.